Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today entitled From Pitch to Profit: How Marketing Agencies Can Work Smarter. I am your presenter for today, Carlos Lavares, Business Advisor for Odoo APAC. And if you want to book a demo with me, please feel free to scan the QR code flashed on your screens. So, what is our agenda for today? So, first, I'll briefly be going through what is Odoo. And from there, we'll have an overview of the landscape of marketing agencies in the Philippines currently. Then we'll dive into our case study and then see how Odoo can solve these issues of a case, and our Q&A lastly. So, what is Odoo? Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that's easy to use and easy on the eyes. It's laid out similar to how applications on your smartphone are laid out actually, and each one of them has their own specific functions. Globally, Odoo has 19 offices worldwide, with the 20th set to rise in the Philippines this quarter too. That's something we can definitely be excited about. We also have 60 million plus happy users around the globe. So, here's just a snapshot of some of the companies in the Philippines right now using Odoo. And as you can see, they are quite varied in terms of the industry and the company size. So, regardless of what industry you're in or what type of business you are running or the size of your business, Odoo has got you covered. So, how can Odoo then help your business? A lot of times in Philippine companies, we see this left-hand scenario where they have several different standalone softwares for different functions, which is great. But the headache starts when you have to integrate all of these together. And that's where Odoo comes in with its all-in-one solution to cover business needs. We have over 70 applications actually that can cover said needs, whether it's simple or complex. So, what are the realities marketing agencies are currently facing in the Philippines? So, first is the Viber or Messenger culture, wherein a lot of times we see approvals, requests are done through our third party messaging applications, which bypasses official channels, which leads to loss of instruction, scope creep, and the lack of a paper trail. Next is fragmented applications. So this usually kills productivity. Imagine having to switch between the different applications, having to integrate them, and having no single source of truth. And last is the manual data entry from sales all the way to invoicing, which in terms of drawbacks is quite similar to that of the fragmented applications. So let's dive into the case of the Reach Republic, which is a marketing agency specializing in creative content production and digital marketing. So, what are the key challenges that they are currently facing? Well, first is administrative burnout, which is due to countless hours spent on manual tracking and input. Next is operational chaos, which is disconnection between the different teams, and resource blindness, which has no clear view on team bandwidth. What then is the Odoo solution? So first is unified project management. We provide data on transactions, developments, and other key information for each project, and seamless sales to finance integration, ensuring that all our teams are always in sync. So then, let's dive into our demo database to see how this works in real time. So, we're on our Odoo database, as you can see, similar to what I mentioned earlier. It's laid out similar to how applications on your smartphone are laid out. So let's head into the website application. As you can see, with the use of ready-made themes, we were able to create a professional and clean-looking website for the Reach Republic. Right. So let's put ourselves then in the shoes of a client who is looking to avail of our services. So let's say I'm a client. In last week's webinar, we had Luzon Heritage Foods fixing or addressing their issues when it comes to manufacturing. And let's say now they want to expand their reach and increase their visibility. So let's put ourselves in their shoes. So I want to contact the Reach Republic. So in our little Odoo verse, Luzon Heritage Foods is now reaching out to us, the Reach Republic. Let's say Jerick is the name of Luzon's representative. Let's input his number. This is not Jerick's real number. His email. His company, which is Luzon Heritage Foods. Subject could be, let's say, we want a quote for video production service. Let our question be, how much would a 3-minute video cost? Oops. All right, let's go ahead and send in this form on behalf of Luzon Heritage Foods. Great, so we've reached out to the Reach Republic to ask for help in terms of increasing our visibility. So what does this then look like on the Reach Republic's backend? So let's hop outside of our website application and into our CRM. And as you can see, from the submission of the form that we initially did, an opportunity was automatically created on our CRM. So let's head into the form. As you can see, the subject has actually populated the opportunity name, and the body has populated the notes with our contact details here. But since Luzon Heritage Foods hasn't been been encoded into our contact database, let's go ahead and create it real quick. There we go. Now we have all the data we need, or all the information we need about our prospective client. If you scroll down below, this right here is what we call the chatter. So the chatter essentially serves as an audit trail for any and all changes made to any particular form. On the chatter, we can set activities as reminders for ourselves or other team members in case we may want to email, call, or even message our client. In this sense, I want to set my activity for tomorrow, email. Right. Additionally, we can leave log notes for other internal Odoo users or other team members. So for example, in this case, I want to leave one for William. William, please see info on client. Right. Then William will be notified and he'll be able to see the log note that we left for him. Next would be, and actually quite useful, we can send an email straight from Odoo. By clicking the send message and popping up our composer, we can send an email to our client or to Jerick. So let's say, hi Jerick, please see attached. So let's say in this case, we've already had our pitch meeting with the client and we want to attach the creative brief that was approved during the pitch meeting. So let's attach that. Then we can send the email. So any reply from Jerick will actually populate here in the chatter as well. Even if he includes attachments, we'll be able to spot it. Let's move over then to our pipeline. And let's move this opportunity across the different stages. So like we mentioned, we're done with the pitch. And now let's say we're in the negotiation stage. So usually this is where we then send our quotations to our clients, right? So usually we create quotations on the sales application. But in this case, we can actually create the quotation from within the CRM, from within the actual form. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So let's make sure that all the details are in order first. Payment terms. We will use 50% down payment so we can cover the production cost and 50% upon the final submission of the video. Right. So next step then would be for us to add some product lines. So how can we add product lines? We can add them individually by choosing them here, or we can choose from our catalog. Similar to how e-commerce platforms work, we can just keep adding to cart as we wish. And when we go back to the quotation, the product lines have been populated. But furthermore, even easier and even more convenient is the use of quotation templates. So for example, for the video production service, we have a ready-made template because more often than not, we know the different products and different services that we offer when it comes to this package. So let's go ahead and select it. And as you can see, sections and product lines have been automatically populated. So what we then need to do now is just adjust the quantity. So Jerry said they wanted a 3-minute video. Just that. And our quotation has been automatically adjusted. We also included some terms and conditions so our clients are aware. All right, so everything is looking good so far. Next thing we can do is, of course, we send this to our client. So we can actually do it by sending via email. So the composer pops out and we can send an email. We can also include attachments if we wish. And the quotation has already been attached as PDF as well. So let's send this to Jeric and Luzon Heritage Foods. Great. Additionally, they can view their quotations as well through our customer portal, which will look something like this. Here they can choose to accept and sign the quotation. All right, so let's say in this case, Luzon Heritage Foods has confirmed their order. So let's confirm it on the back end. Great, so this quotation has now been turned into a sales order. And with the sales order, a new project with 8 specific tasks we need to complete has been created for us to finish and accomplish this project. But before we officially get this project underway, first order of business would be to bill the client for the initial 50%. So let's create an invoice. Down payment is 50%. And let's go ahead and create it. All right, so everything seems to be in order. Let's confirm our invoice. So, because Luzon Heritage Foods has solved their issues on manufacturing, they are now incredibly profitable and incredibly liquid. So they decide to pay right away the 50%. So let's simulate that payment real quick. Great. We've been paid by our client and now we can officially begin the project. So if I was in charge then of managing this project, I would then exit the sales application and head over into our project application. And as you can see, this particular project was been created, which is connected to the initial sales order that we had for Luzon Heritage Foods. So since we're starting this up real quick, let's head it over to in progress. And let's jump into the actual project. So as you can see, we have a lot of several tasks that were already created for this project, geared towards completing it, right? So first task would actually be assigned tasks, which is assigned to myself. So I am project manager, I am also salesperson, I wear many hats, I'm multi-talented, right? So let's set a timeline as to which I'll need to complete this particular task. Let's give myself 2 days. So this is in progress. Next task would be to create a budget. Let's assign this to myself as well, right? And for the timeline, let's give myself Monday to Tuesday next week. Great. So let's also put this in progress because let's say I'm already in the process of creating. Let's assign maybe 2 more tasks because we can't assign all of them because it'll take up too much time, right? So for cast additions, let's assign this to William Grierson. Let's give him the second half of next completed. All right. And lastly, let's maybe assign the final draft. We'll assign this to our resident video editor, Camille Carlos. She will get the first half of the week after next. All right. So let's say the assigned tasks task is already done because I have assigned all the tasks. Next step for me would be then to create the budget. So let's head on over to our dashboard and create the budget. Let's call it Zone Video. Let's add a line and let's set our budget to maybe around 65,000 pesos. Let's set a period first. Set a month's worth of work. Right. So we're done creating our budget. So now we can move the create budget to done. So let's say this project has been running smoothly. Some other tasks are already being done. All right. So for better appreciation, we can head on over to the Gantt to see all of the different tasks assigned to our different team members so that we are always aware of our team's bandwidth. Because more often than not, we'll see that if a particular team member has enough bandwidth, we can assign them to another project, right? All right. So let's say throughout this project, we then have some products or services that we need to purchase in order to complete the project. Let's head on over to our purchase orders and create them. So our vendor will be sample vendor. Super creative, I know. Let's add some products. So let's say we want equipment, and of course, we'll need to hire cast and crew. All right. So now we can confirm this purchase order with our vendor. And before we can actually pay, we'll need to upload a bill. So let's select our sample vendor bill here. You can see it attached below. And we can now confirm it. See, this is the beauty actually with Odoo. Whenever you have any missing fields or when the logic doesn't make sense, Odoo will notify you and help push you back in the right direction. So let's set a bill date today. All right, let's confirm it. And let's pay our vendor. Let's simulate that payment. Great. We've made our payment then. Excuse me, sorry. So let's say now we incurred some expenses along the way. Let's create a new expense. I like this example. Let's do meals with talents this time. Lunch with customer. Because we have to feed our talents. Category would then be food. And let's set it to around, let's say we spent around 7,000. Quite expensive, I know. Unfortunately, guys, our talents are divas. So we just gotta roll with it. Right? So it'll be reimbursed by, or it'll be paid for by myself and reimbursed by the Reach Republic. So we can choose to attach a receipt, but let's just go ahead and submit this expense. So let's post the journal entries real quick. And let's say the Reach Republic has already reimbursed me. So let's simulate that payment once again. Okay, great. Later on, I'll check my bank account to see if the Reach Republic has paid me. I'm hoping that actually reflects, but let's move on. All right. So what did we just do? We incurred some expenses. We had to purchase some services or products for the completion of our project. What does this then look like on our dashboard? As you can see, automatically we have a profitability report ready to go. We were able to track all of the transactions that we made for this project. We can track the revenues that we generated, revenues we can still expect, any purchase orders that we did, any expenses, which amounts to our total costs, and we can check this up against our budget that we set earlier. All right, great. So let's say then that this project has finally been completed, fully completed. We can move this to done. But before we go, there is one last step. It's time to build the client once again. Jarek, Luzon Heritage Foods, it's time to pay up. So let's head on over to our sales order. So what we then need to do now is to create another invoice. As you can see, Odoo has already recognized the initial amount we invoiced the first time. We just need then to select regular invoice. All right, everything seems to be in order. Let's confirm this draft. And from there, let's create a payment. Let's simulate the payment because Luzon Heritage Foods is so profitable now, so liquid. They pay right after. All right, so we've been paid by our client. We can then send the invoice via email again, like this, or customer can view it on their customer portal. Right. So what just happened? So the Reach Republic was able to definitely work smarter all the way from pitch to profit. But what did we achieve exactly? So the key outcomes were number one, peak efficiency. We transitioned to digitized operations to focus more on growing the business. Second, we were able to secure our retainers and improve project monitoring that builds reliability and trust with our clients, especially over the long term. And lastly, operational agility. We achieved agility, efficiency, and peak productivity that allows you to stay ahead in a competitive. So that officially ends our demo portion. I think we can now open the floor to questions, our Q&A portion. So I will be reading some of your questions from our chat on the YouTube live. So let's begin. Okay. All right. So there's a question here. Hi there. When creating my website, can I opt not to use the themes and start from scratch? Excuse me, sorry. So actually you can. So let's actually head on over to the website. So you can definitely start from scratch, right? But when you do, what you'll see here is actually just a few headers and bare content, nothing at all. So then it will be your job to add your own blocks, add your own content, and add your own themes, right? So I guess that's good for those who are experienced in building their own websites or those who have that uh, ability to implement their creative vision. But if you're someone like me who has zero creative bones in his body, maybe give the themes a try. So yeah, thank you for that question. Is there a way to note how much time I have spent on a task? Good question. Okay, so there actually is a way, and let me show you guys. So usually we can use the timesheets application, right? But let's say we're in the actual project. Let's use the project that we just completed. So let's say I want to take note of how much time I spent creating a budget. So there are two different ways actually we can do this while we're on the project application. First is this, which is essentially a start to a timer. So if you're really meticulous or really particular about how much time you've spent, you can use it. So let's try it. Start. Timer is running. Let's say I'm drafting the budget, right? So as you can see, at least for our demo database, 15 minutes was the minimum amount of time that we can log for any activity. Let's say we drafted the budget. All right. That's one way we were able to log how much time we spent on a task. Another one is we can actually just manually add the line here, select a date. My description would be then, let's say I finalized it. Great. And let's say I spent an hour doing it. Just like that, I was able to keep track or take note of all of the time I spent on a particular task. So whether that's through manually adding lines or using our timer here. Thank you for that question. Hello, can I link tasks in Odoo so that one must be completed before the next one starts? Yes, we can. On Odoo, we actually call that task dependencies. So let me just, I guess, pull up this real quick. I'm not gonna be able to show it because it may take up some time to set up, but you can definitely book a demo with me and I'll be happy to show you guys. But in the real world, right? Let's say this final draft task here by Camille, she won't be able to complete this until all the other tasks before her are done, right? And we can definitely set that up on Odoo to make it as so, and we call those task dependency. All right. Have maybe one more question. Sorry about. Can I track profitability per client or per project? Yes, we can actually. I actually showed it earlier, right? So let me just show it to you guys again, which is the dashboard over here, right? So our profitability report was able to capture the revenue that we generated. In this case, we already invoiced twice and it captured that. It captured all of our costs. So let's say in this case, we have additional expenses that we incurred or additional products and services that we needed to purchase from a supplier or a vendor. We input and it will capture, and it will see also how much we spent in relation to our budget over here, right? So yes, we can definitely track profitability per project. All right. I think that's all the time we have for questions. Once again, this has been Carlos Lavares, Business Advisor for Odoo APAC. And if you guys want to learn more about Odoo or explore it further, please feel free to register for our upcoming webinars. You can also check out Odoo's main YouTube channel. But if you want something more personalized, more exclusive, like a one-on-one session with me, please feel free to scan the QR code flashed on your screens, and I'll be happy to sit down, discuss it with you, and point you in the right direction. So thank you once again to everyone for joining us. Marami pong salamat and have a wonderful rest of your day.